100 years ago, the most powerful countries were richer and stronger on the profit of slave trade. Today, slavery is illegal in each and every country in the world. The truth of the matter is, it didn't die in the 19th century. It is alive, thriving, and it's bigger than ever. Welcome to my channel. I'm Mary Mogo. Karibu sana, Father. Kindly introduce yourself.
My name is Father Nicholas Macau. I am a consolata missionary. I work in Kenya at the moment. I am the one in charge of mission and animation office, and I'm based in Consolata Westlands Regional House.
Is human trafficking a big thing in the country?
Yes, human trafficking at the moment is a big issue, is a big problem, and because we see it's spreading across the sectors. Earlier days we used to think it's a problem with the town, and the town in terms of people being able to migrate outside the country. But we have seen now it has become even domestic, that from the villages, from rural areas, shifting people for different purposes, and more in not giving them opportunity to understand what it is, with a lot of false promises, with a lot of pretenses, high promises, and so it has become fully part of the society, and so it's really a big risk. Before we used to say it is involving women and girls, but now we have seen it is even involving men, boys, adults, and young together for different reasons.
Okay, and what is the most common recruitment method?
One is promise of a job, whereby because of lack of job opportunities, because of search for a better life, people come with that pretense there's a job somewhere, and therefore people who are looking for a job, then easily they accept, because they don't have anything, and they say, even if it's not there, let me try, perhaps I can get, and therefore they are cheated in that. The second form is education. People who promise, now that you are from a poor background, you don't have enough education, I'll keep you in my place, I will educate you, I'll give you scholarship, you are going there for studies, you can choose this, even making them look like, very future, your education will be, promising, and then you can bring your brothers, sisters. So education is another. The third, which is unfortunate, is through religious methods of recruitment, whereby one is promised to go to be trained, and you will become this, either in a Muslim or in a Christian. So these kind of promises are there, and those are three modes that I've encountered, and I think they are rampant.
And does human trafficking only resort to sexual exploitation?
Well, at the moment, the experience says sexual exploitation is one of the big problems. But it is more, it's beyond sexual exploitation. It's also, exploitation on one's freedom of choice, one freedom of, more actually expression, you can say misuse. You are being misused because you don't have other opportunities. So your opportunities are wasted. And when we say sexual exploitation, it also goes beyond, because one, is denied the opportunity to relate with the people of his or her choice. You are relating with the people of somebody else's choice. Another part whereby it's not really a sexual exploitation business is your energies, capacity to imagine, the capacity to invent, to recreate as a human person is denied on you, because you are only put to what other people want. And so it is beyond, sexual exploitation. Every work that you are not enumerated correctly, without hours of rest, many hours of work without even appreciating, recreation for yourself, and so many other activities, is beyond sexual exploitation, really. Yeah.
You have talked of something to do with the labor being exploited. People don't understand human trafficking and labor exploitation. What is the connection?
The connection is actually very clear when you look at the purpose, the motive of these traffickers. In any form, even if it's sexual exploitation, it is still about labor. And why it is connected to labor, exploitation of labor, is they are not enumerated accordingly. There is no standard measure of how many hours. Some because they are house helpers, others because they are sexually exploited, is not enumerated as a work. So they are paid less, or many others not paid at all. Others are promised we shall pay you at the end of it, and at the end of it they are not paid. Others, they stay there, because you are eating there, you are sleeping there, you have no room. So it's like you are 24 hours on duty. So the labor exploitation process is that you are not given time to relax, recreation. You have no definition, the work role, which is yours. You are doing all. And so, and actually when you say it's a human trafficking as a labor exploitation, one of the major things is that you have no definition of your work. You just do what the master wants.
Can the traffickers be family members?
Yes, and we have we have statistics that say most have been trafficked through family. There are two ways of understanding when family members become traffickers. One, for lack of information, for lack of knowledge, for problems that they face in the society, and so they want their person to come out to become the family's bread earner, and so they give them out easily. So in that level, they are cheated. But others also in the family, they look at their siblings and they say, look, I am better off than the other, and I can bring my sister's child, my brother's child, my relative's child to stay with me, and I will pay less. So instead of getting somebody I can pay professionally, I'll get somebody I can pay less, and it's my brother who can easily accept to give me a child of that nature or somebody of that nature. And so family members have, in the two levels I mentioned, become traffickers. For whatever reason, a child who is not staying in his or her family, immediately you see they are not staying together, you must start to become suspicious. What are the reasons? What are the conditions this child is being subjected to? Secondly, as a way of indicator, you have to understand how is the child living in that environment. Is she living in that capacity as a growing child with all the freedoms any other child has? He is not talking about now being fed, being given this, but how she or he is being treated in that family. Does she enjoy the child rights of play, of education, of going to church, of staying with other children, or she's only there because she has to take care of other children in that family? But generally, like when it is not involving relatives or is involving getting away, you'll always see the child is not happy, asks questions, can feel, I'm just here because my mother gave me out, because my mother must be paid, so I have to adhere to this family. And the child is not generally, naturally happy, it's not naturally responsive. Those are kind of the indicators we see.
If I have a child and I don't have a job, and there is somebody else who needs a house help, and I send my daughter there to be a house help, is that a human trafficking?
First of all, more than a human trafficking, is also a crime, because they are what we call human rights and children's rights. And the parents have the responsibility, by all means, to care, to feed in for their children. But when it comes down to human rights or children's rights, they need to understand, am I taking advantage of that family because it's poor to bring this child up to get cheap labor? Cases we have seen, nearly 80% are. Then that child is given to that form, the parents are poor, they can't afford, the other one takes over, pretending in the pretext at the beginning I'm going to help, does not continue with education. That child becomes nothing in the society, and our future is destroyed. And so the issue doesn't arise because your family is poor, then I use you come to my house. No, the child and the state has a responsibility to ensure those kind of things do not work. And if that opening is given, then also some other people ignore, neglect their responsibility in the pretext of I'm poor, I can't afford to feed my children, to do this, so they are given out for those people who are willing. So we are saying once they enter into that kind of reality, that's clear human trafficking. Whether to people from far or from within the family, even a child can be given to really their aunt, but is not living with those rights of a child at that moment to grow in that atmosphere. That's trafficking.
And on that point, what does the law state?
The law is very clear, and often these people who do that, both the parents and the one who was accepted, should be right to be prosecuted. And the prosecution here is very clear. It's kind of a deterrence for people misusing others because of their state of life, because they lack this, or taking advantage to exploit, to misuse, to abuse, because they cannot question, they don't see ahead there. And so the law is very clear. This is crime and is to be prosecuted.
We have heard of cases of ladies, our young youth going to Qatar, to Afghanistan, and all those Middle East countries, and being exploited. When you are there, which law actually protects you?
At the moment, yeah, that's a tricky part, because also people are not informed. But there are laws, the international laws, that protect this. We have what we call extraterritorial obligations, that a state is responsible for what happens to the state's neighboring states, or not neighboring in the sense of next to each other, but to another state. And these are also regulated by what we call international charters. We have got, for Africa, for example, the African Charter. We have got so many other international treaties, MOUs, that make states protect each other. And therefore, in any state that one goes, there is a provision that one can be protected internationally. Even if that state has not signed, there are other obligations, other treaties that call to responsibility for the protection of that. For our case in Kenya and those Middle East countries, the government has made treaties and agreements, and I know as I speak, they are trying to promulgate others that eventually then, when this happens, they can be safely brought back. Now, what is happening is maybe the laxity of the state, the issues of corruption, the issues of business people who have interest, and therefore they shell it. And when those people there and they begin, even when they report, then it's not taken seriously. But the provision is there. The protection is assured.
Is there any centralized watch list of human trafficking?
Yes, they are what we call regional, they are international, and as it stands now, there are so many also civil societies that have formed groups, that have formed themselves, been recognized by the government, that protect, or they safeguard, they also follow the victims of trafficking. And so regional bodies are there, both in religious, civil society, we call it non-state actors, and the states. And there are also directors that are part of this, like government of Kenya has got a very clear office only. The church these days, particularly the Catholic Church, is pushing that to separate that ministry that is of immigration, seafarers, and refugees, so that there can be only particular human trafficking, so that there will be full attention to it. At the moment, is considered part of the Refugee, Immigrants, and Seafarers Commission.
If I get a case of human trafficking, where do I run to? Where do I go to? Because I understand even our police department, most of them, they don't understand what is human trafficking.
So currently, officially, once you see a case that is human trafficking, whether from outside the country or within the country, the first is through the police. And this is to report you are suspecting this case, so that they can start an investigation. from outside also to the police, but more the immigration office. And even within the country, you can report to the immigration office because that's where eventually, the process of either they're going outside. But the police helps because not every traffic case goes outside the country. So the police are at the regional and they chief the government administration. But since we have seen the last of the government, issues of, as you say, police not being aware, they think it's a friendship, this child is being helped, or this family is being helped, economically, then that's where these we are calling regional groups, independent groups that are being formed, that are fighting for the safeguard of trafficked people, and they are many online, they are given their contacts to report to them so that they have a systematic way of trying to safeguard, trying to save those who are being trafficked in that form. We in the church, we have safe rescue houses or places where we keep them as they get through what has happened. They are helped to integrate again to the society, and it's not a long-term safety place, but short-term to integrate them, to link them to their families and relatives, but they are there. Unfortunately, government is using, maybe we don't call them safe houses anymore, because the only place that they have the open, maybe they are the police cells, and then of course it gives another connotation. It's like you are put there because you are a criminal. Yeah, and so it does not help to facilitate, that transition that you have been suffering and now you are brought there, you get already a bad connotation. You are in the police cell. But the police have confessed that's the only place they have. They cannot keep them anywhere. But church and some NGOs have got these safe houses.
Thanks a lot, Father. That was very informative. Thank you. Have you been a victim of human trafficking? Would you like to share your story with us? Kindly contact me on Facebook at Merimogo or Semanami, on Twitter at Merimogo, Instagram at Merimogo. And make sure to subscribe and to watch our next video. Thank you.